We're here. We're back. Third week in a row, baby. Consistent as hell. And this week, we're going to be going over the NBA Eastern Conference tier list maker, part two of a two-part series where we rank where we think the NBA teams are going to land in this regular season. Now, the first team on the list is the Brooklyn Nets. So before we begin, obviously, we got a lot of comments and suggestions how we kind of glossed over some of the smaller teams. So thanks to our loyal fan base, we realized we will spend some more time on every team versus spending 30 minutes on the Warriors, our own team. And so thank you to the fans. Really appreciate your guys' feedback. So keep it coming, please.
Shout out, shout out.
Shout out to the fans. All right. So how about we let Thomas take it off at where he thinks the Brooklyn Nets are going to land?
Um, for me, this is the most quintessential play-in team I could possibly imagine. I would probably, just thinking ahead, I would probably put them towards the very left of the plan because I think they're kind of play-in team that could probably make it through the plan and actually make it all the way to the playoffs. But there's a lot to like, and there's also a lot to be concerned about. Obviously, Mikal Bridges had a second half breakout last year and is looking more and more like somebody who could actually be, the first option on a playoff team, which is what's necessary for any playoff team to have to go anywhere. As a Ben Simmons fan, I'm very optimistic that this will finally be the year he manages to play 40 or 50 games and maybe potentially start looking like the player that we were seeing 2 or 3 years ago in Philadelphia. And I and also, dude, not to forget Nick Claxton, very underrated in my opinion. I think somebody who could genuinely anchor a top 15, top 10 defense, um, especially when paired with Ben Simmons. Obviously, there's a lot to be concerned about on the offensive side. Outside of Mikal Bridges, not a lot of guys who are going to be doing creating. The one other guy they have in Cam Thomas is still pretty inefficient. When I was watching him, I wasn't really sold on his ability to be, an efficient creator, somebody who you actually want to be giving the ball and having score for you in big moments, like for example in a play-in game. But I would still put them in the play-in tier pretty solidly.
Before you give your analysis, Wes, I wanted to ask a question for the room. Are we purchasing stock into Ben Simmons
Yes,
returning back? So,
yes, we are.
but now let's say we got $100. All right,
200,
how much stock are we investing
200.
into Ben Simmons? 200. So you're taking out a loan.
I'm taking that alone. I'm doubling up.
You're doubling up. Okay. So jokes aside, you're essentially saying that you think he will return to an all-star-esque form as he was in the past.
Yes, I'm genuinely honest to God saying that. As
All
as much
defensive.
as much mockery as it might bring them.
Okay, it's a hot take. We're recording it, so good. Wesley, you got $100. How much Ben Simmons stock are you purchasing?
I mean, it's a low pressure situation, which I think he thrives in. So I think like 70-ish dollars. I think he's gonna improve for sure. All star, I don't know, but
And I would ask that same question to myself. I personally think that I'm going to be buying maybe $35 of stock. I want to keep my remaining $65 for more, I guess. It's a conservative take because I think it's the easy thing to say that, oh yeah, look at how he's been playing for the last 2 years. He's not coming back to his form. So it is a take I'm going to lean towards because I just don't think he is. It's nothing. Nothing. There are no changing signs that will prove that this season will be any different than the past. Every offseason, it's Ben Simmons hitting the gym, hitting a jumper, sweat on his arms, sweat on his legs. He's just working out. But when it comes to the regular season, he's still disappearing. And the big question for me is he going to be able to overcome that psychological damage? That psychological, I can't do this. Oh man, too much pressure, too much pressure. That I think that's the key. If he can, I think the sky's the limit. But I don't think he can personally. And
I mean,
I'm only buying $35 of stock.
look, you watch him in these preseason games. He looks as fluid, as athletic, as unrestrained by injury as he has in like the last 3 years. He's looking like the old Ben Simmons. Now, is the old Ben Simmons does the old Ben Simmons have some very obvious weaknesses that everybody is well aware of at this point? Yes, but it's also a lot better than the version of Ben Simmons that we've gotten when healthy in these past 2 years. That's why I'm saying
There's only
I'm
one
buying
way
this
to
stock.
find out, and we're steadily approaching the end of October, and that's when we'll find out. But I guess that's our takes on that. So Thomas, $200, Wesley,
$200.
70, and I'm going in with $35. All right, now Wesley, where would you want to rank the Brooklyn Nets?
I definitely agree with a lot of what Thomas said. I just don't think they have enough top end talent to, like I said, I'd probably put them top play in or low playoff team because the East isn't that deep beyond the three or the two main contenders that we all know. So I could definitely see them being low playoff or high play in, but Mikal Bridges I don't think is quite at that superstar level yet to make them for sure a playoff team. So yeah, I'll say play in, I guess. But I think their defense is going to be like stifling this year. Like they have very good personnel: Dorian Finney-Smith, Ben Simmons, Kel Bridges, obviously, Claxton. So yes, I love it. Love this team.
All right. I would have to agree with the majority of what you guys are saying. I think Thomas kind of hit the nail on the head with the quintessential play-in team. I think they're gonna have sparks of greatness. I really like Tom said, Mikal Bridges he's a great player. They also did get, which I don't know if you guys forgot, they did also get the ex-LA man. What is it? Where is he, man? Lonnie Walker. They did get Lonnie Walker. That's the name I was forgetting. They also did get Lonnie Walker, who again, it's one of those pieces where, unfortunately, we witnessed it firsthand, where he could have an insane game. So
Yeah.
with Ben Simmons, Lonnie Walker, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, even Cam Thomas, he has those sparks. And then, of course, Nick Claxton. And also, they do have a veteran in Spencer Dinwiddie where
Yeah.
I was going to add to
I don't
Thomas
think
where the
I
ball
wouldn't
hand,
even say I wouldn't even say he's just a veteran. He's like a pretty.
he's a
He's
pretty
probably
solid player.
start.
That's what I
He's
was saying.
probably
Like,
starting for them. So.
absolutely. Like what
I
Thomas was
haven't
saying
had
that
any faith in him since Din Shitty Island, to be honest.
Thomas said that Mikal Bridges is like the only main ball handler. I think they do also have Spencer Dinwiddie
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
kind of take that load as well. So, they got some good pieces in Royce O'Neal. Dennis Smith Jr. also just recently went there. So, I mean, nothing crazy, nothing contender worthy, nothing deep playoff run worthy. But I would agree with Wes, playing team that could potentially make the playoffs and show some good signs. So I would have to agree. I think we're gonna stick them on in play-in team. Next up, we got the Boston Celtics. I think this is a fairly easy one. Let's go in reverse order, I guess. This time I will start. I think they have consistently proven themselves to always make it to either a deep playoff run or the finals, which they did in 2022. This year, they obviously got Kristaps in the offseason. They still got JT. They got Jaylen Brown. They did lose Marcus Smart,
But
but
they
they
replaced him
did
with
replace him with good old Drew Holiday. So I think similar to our last video where we were doing contenders and playoff teams, I see them as contenders for sure. Personally, I think if how I said in the last episode, how do I consider a team a contender or not? If they ended up winning the chip, would I be surprised? Without Drew Holiday, yes, I would have been surprised because essentially it's the same team with KP, and I don't think KP pushes them to over the finish line of winning a chip. But I think with a guy like Drew Holiday, with that championship experience, with that elite defense, obviously, not the same Drew Holiday in 2021, but I think overall it's a deep team. They're really deep. They got a good starting five, and I think this year is their best shot compared to the last couple of years. JT and Jaylen Brown are getting older. They're entering their prime. Obviously, KP, how old is Kristaps? He's like what, 20? He's like late 20s now, right? Like 29 maybe?
It's like 2016 draft, so probably
28, which is I'm kind of surprised. I would have said he was like 1 or 2 years older. But hey, what do I know?
What do you know? So yeah, it's looking pretty. They did lose though. They did lose an elite rim protector in
Robert Williams.
Robert Williams. So
And
that will be a hit.
They also lost their other Williams.
Oh yeah, Grant.
Grant Williams.
Grant Williams.
That is true as well. I
Um,
think I think they did take some hits. But I don't know. I think they have a good shot because of just the good pieces. They are still deep. They're still a very deep team, and their starting five is looking pretty damn strong. So I would personally have them as a contender.
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of what you said. One guy you didn't mention, Derek White. I think his like
That is true.
their guards are very deep. Like Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, obviously Drew Holiday as well. Like they have lots of versatility there. So I think, especially in the regular season, they won't have to lean on the Jays to get through the season. So hopefully especially as they're getting older now, they'll be fresh in time for a title run, I think. So, and I'm kind of curious what lineup they're gonna run. Like at best, they'd probably want Drew Holiday, Derek White, the Jays, and then Kristaps. I assume. I don't know if I'm like missing
Yeah,
someone.
and then Al Horford probably.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. Like,
They're gonna start 6 people. They got a special exemption from the commissioner.
So,
Or...
Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, I think Al Horford, and then KP.
I
That's
would
what
have Derek. I would have Derek White and push Al Horford out.
really.
That's what I.
I mean,
That's
to me, Al Horford and KP in the starting lineup is just way too slow,
That is true, but the thing is
way
that
too
so
big,
you
way too
have
slow.
JT at the 4. Then you guys are saying.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
He is 6'9" and he's a big wing. I mean, he's a wing, so he's not like
He
a.
he has the
But
length, he has the size, I think, to handle most modern fours.
yeah, and Kristaps is definitely a. I mean, you said they lost Robert Williams, which is like definitely a big hit, but Kristaps is no slouch himself. I think his main like detriment is that his health. Like, will he be healthy in the playoffs for them?
I
Which
mean,
I mean, Robert Williams
yeah, I
wasn't
was
really
about to,
healthy
yeah.
either, so
I mean, Rob Will, that's the same story.
yeah. So I don't know. I think health is like a main contingency, especially just like all teams in the East. Like last year, that's kind of what got the Bucks knocked out. Same with the year before. So yeah, yeah, contender. I agree. Yeah.
That
I
leaves
agree as
Thomas.
well. I agree as well. Everything that they lost, they kind of got back essentially. Drew Holiday pretty much slots right into the Marcus Smart role. Obviously, there's some like I guess like intangible culture stuff that I think some Boston fans might say maybe Drew can't replicate that. Marcus Smart having been there for like 9 years or whatever, and he was kind of in some ways the heart and soul of the team. So maybe that will manifest somehow on the court, but that remains to be seen. KP is not a direct, replacement for Robert Williams. They do different things. KP provides more value on the offensive end than Robert Williams ever will, but he lacks the quickness, the just pure terror struck into the hearts of people trying to challenge the rim that Robert Williams provided. But yeah, I mean they're going to do the same thing they do every year. They're going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, get to the finals, and then lose to an actually good team. Um, and my thoughts on the Celtics have not changed that much based on this offseason.
All right, I think it's another pretty easy ranking. So far we
Yeah.
are 3 for 3. We all agree. The next one is the Atlanta Hawks. Thomas, take the floor.
Oh yeah. Atlanta Hawks. They are a playoff team. Wes, don't give me that look, man. Please. I need somebody to back me up on this one. Um, I mean my take, which I'm already sensing is going to diverge a little bit, from maybe some other opinions, is pretty much all rooted in my consistent, steadfast belief that Trae Young is genuinely a borderline top 10 player in the league. I'm higher on him than 99% of people in the world, probably, and I'm aware of that. I think the value that he provides as a pure creator on the offensive end, as a pure playmaker, as somebody who can single-handedly elevate an offense to being, essentially championship level is something that very few players in the league possess. And for that reason, as long as he's on the roster, I'll always think that they have a better shot than not to be in the playoffs. I'm under no illusions. I don't think they're a contender. I don't think that they'll make it much past the second round, at least not with the way this roster is constructed. But I could much more easily see him carrying them to a sixth or fifth seed than falling, down into the playoff again. That's that's my take. I'll let Wes. I guess is Wes next in the order? Because something tells me he wants to respond a little
Wes
bit.
is next in the order.
All right, Wes. Let's see what you have.
I had these guys at playing at best. Like I just saw them as like mid, honestly, which
I agree.
they were worse than that last year, and they didn't really upgrade in any places, and they lost John Collins. So I mean,
That's an
Trey,
upgrade, by the way.
I agree that he does lead a great offense as he has since he entered the league, but his defensive deficiencies have like always shown themselves, and the fit with DeJounte Murray wasn't as great as I think we thought it would be. It was
Yep.
like
It was pretty anticlimactic.
yeah, anticlimactic, and I don't know. I mean, there's always like trade rumors with all their players, which isn't always a good sign. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But I guess we'll see if he can.
I would have to completely agree with Wesley. I think they are definitely a play-in team. They're a confident play-in team for me. I just don't see them like kind of making the playoffs, being a 7 seed and better. I just don't see that. They don't really have much depth. It's Trae Young. It's Trae Young and DeJounte Murray with, I guess, like, yeah,
Bogdan.
DeAndre Hunter,
Bogdanovich.
Bogdan, but like again, it's like they got a Kongwu, they got Capella. They do have like, I guess, some pieces in like Sadiq Bey and Wesley Matthews.
Oh yeah,
but
I should also mention I didn't
they do
include
have
it in my take.
a
Was
Muslim brother,
I
Muhammad.
I just want to cut in. I didn't include it in my take. I'm also really high on Onyeka Okongwu. I think he's the archetypal modern big, somebody who can threaten the defense as a lob threat when on offense and as a roll threat, protect the rim on defense. I think he slots in perfectly next to Trae, and hopefully they mix him in more this year because I think he provides more value to that team than Clint Capella, than the current version of Clint Capella at least. And I also think that playing Sadiq Bey alongside Trae is going to be a major offense or upgrade on offense compared to John Collins. I think Sadiq Bey's ability as a shooter far outweighs anything that whatever version of John Collins we saw last year was doing. So that's two more points to my take. Again, I'm aware there's a lot of people who would laugh in my face, but
Yeah, I think
My only oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
My only question is I don't know like how good Onyeka Okongwu is as a lob threat, because that's kind of like if you want a center alongside Trey, you kind of need like Capella is a great lob threat for him, like in the pick
And
and
he
roll
is
and all
really
that.
undersized for a center.
Yeah, exactly. So
And they have two
modern NBA.
undersized centers. They have a 6'10" center in Clint Capella, and they have a 6'9" center in Okongwu.
it's modern NBA. It's no such thing as undersized.
is he a good lob threat? I mean, he's good defensively, but
I will say he's certainly not as good as Pete Capella was like 2 years ago because nobody's touching Pete Capella as a lob threat really, except for maybe like AD. But he is good. He is good. And I think the value that he brings on defense, the athleticism, the mobility, outweighs whatever value Clint Capella is providing as a lob threat and an offensive rebounder at this point in his career.
I guess we'll see.
I still don't think, like, I do definitely agree that like their starting five is pretty solid, and they do have like 1, 2, like they go maybe like 2, 3 down into the bench where they have some solid pieces in the bench. But I think other than that, it's pretty much a bunch of not super solid pieces, you know. So, and yeah, I think they're gonna make it to the play-in. Last year they made it to the first round. They went to game 6 against the Celtics. But I think it's gonna be more or less the same. It's just gonna be kind of a chaotic. It was never a very confident, compelling season. It just wasn't. It didn't look like the Hawks.
And that's the thing, right? Is that this team looked out of sorts. They looked disjointed. They looked clueless, and they still took the Celtics to 6. I get people overlooked it a little bit. I think most people chalked it up to more the Celtics being out of their depth and the Celtics being rusty and the Celtics, being whatever frauds. I mean, it was all proven right in the end, obviously. But you got to give Trae Young and his Hawks roster a little bit of credit for doing that, to take a team that was supposed to just completely blow them out of the water and torch them and, send them packing and, sweep them out of the building or whatever, taking them to 6. Like it's not nothing. And that was a version of this Hawks team that looked completely out of sorts. If they could get a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of feel
And I think
playing
that's the
alongside each other
key.
going.
I think that's the key is like, it depends on the individual. Does the individual believe that they can fix that chemistry, that they can kind of mesh together, that they can look more coherent and as like a well-oiled machine. I personally don't think so. I don't think they will. I think you obviously do. I would say Wes also doesn't think that they're going to be like a well-oiled machine. They're going to be a little bit out of sorts, I think, and they'll stumble into the play-in, maybe into the first round. But I think that is the extent to where they go. Thomas, where do you think they'll go? How deep do you think they can go into the playoffs?
I think they could get lucky if they get a good matchup in the first round and make it to the second round. And I think that if some miracle happens, they could. I mean, they're not going to, but yeah, I mean, they're second round at max.
Okay, you think they're a second round exit?
I think they're
Personally,
second round
I think they're a
exit
first round
at
exit.
maximum. Yeah, I mean, and that's fair.
I mean, although I could get behind a second round exit at max because I
It
don't know.
depends who they play. Like
Yeah,
I
it
could see them
depends who they
beating.
play.
I could see them beating the Heat if they face them in the first round somehow. But
I do see them getting to the second round max through the play-in. I don't see them just getting into the playoffs and then making it the second round. I think they're gonna have to go through the play-in personally.
Yeah.
Next up, we got
Oh God,
the Chicago Bulls.
give them a D.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, next team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. I would, I would absolutely have to say that the Bulls are 100% a D team. They have no idea. Like, I mean, I guess it's just where are they trying to go? You know, their big three of Vucevic, of DeMar DeRozan, of and of course of Zach LaVine has not fared out. Although, you know, on paper, whenever you see their lineup, it's like I feel like they're not terrible. They're not. There shouldn't be a D team. They got DeMar, they got Vucevic, they got LaVine, they got Caruso. I guess
think, okay. My opinion
Lonzo,
is that
Kobe White.
I think it's D because like they're not going to be the worst team, but it's just like where are you going? Like you're trying to build around DeMar past his prime. Like
Exactly. And I feel like LaVine is just kind of rotting there in his prime.
yeah.
He's kind of doing what Kemba Walker did with the Hornets. And I think what ultimately happened with Kemba was that he left, right? He went to the Celtics and he was a little bit too late. And I think, unfortunately, hopefully not, because LaVine is extremely talented. He's just kind of rotting in Chicago. He needs to leave. He needs to get up and leave. He needs to get up, try to win a chip, join a team with, you know, like a promising roster, something that's going on for the franchise. Because unfortunately, this team clearly has just also they have had not super great luck, especially with like Lonzo and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, on paper, they're not a terrible team. Like Kobe White, Craig, Lonzo Ball, Caruso,
I mean,
Drummond, I guess with boards and stuff. Obviously, LaVine, Vucevic, DeRozan. So on paper, they're all right. But I don't know. I just think Patrick Williams. But I just feel like
Bust.
I just feel like it's not really. It's just missing, man. They're missing Jordan.
look, I mean, you really cannot overstate how stupid and ridiculous the Lonzo Ball situation is, and how unfortunate it is that had to happen to the Bulls team. Not that I think that they would be like contenders if he was on the roster, but like
It would have been, of course, better.
they would have been so much better. When you think about all the things that like their current roster construction really is lacking, like point of attack defenders, capable 3-point shooters, distributors and playmakers. Like, it's crazy. You're describing Lonzo Ball. Like, he was very obviously an important part of their plan, and it looked like it was working for a little bit. And the fact that he happens to come down with like the single most severe knee injury in the history of humanity, seemingly, it's just unfortunate for them. But like setting that aside, I mean, the fundamental problem with the Chicago Bulls is what it's always been ever since they got DeMar DeRozan, which is that you can't build a contender around DeMar DeRozan as your best player, and that's what they're trying to do. And nothing's ever going to change that until they trade him away. And I think to your point about like Zach LaVine, like Zach LaVine is probably best suited as being a second option alongside an actual superstar,
Yeah.
not a second option alongside
I would
DeMar
definitely agree with
DeRozan. And they need to blow it up, and until they do, they are just stuck in that D tier.
Yeah, I feel so bad for the Bulls fans because everyone sees it except for the franchise that they just gotta blow it up. It is time to blow it up. It's time to pull an OKC, get some draft picks, get some 13-year-olds, some 8th graders ready, and and be ready for the future. Would you like to add or give your 2 cents, Wes?
No, I agree definitely with all you guys said.
Yeah, I
Playing
think
their
it's
best.
it's unfortunate. I think last episode this would have been one of those teams. Oh, they suck, and then we would have just moved on. This time we gave a little bit of analysis, but more or less, TLDR, they suck. They have no clue what the hell they're doing. Next, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
This is for you.
This is for you. I'm excited. I'm actually very excited for this team. Thomas, take the floor.
I'm laughing because when I saw the Cleveland logo, the first thing that popped in my head was that Jared Allen quote. He said, "The lights were brighter than expected." That shit was funny. I'm still laughing about it. Um, Aside from that, it's kind of an interesting team to talk about. Like last year was both their coming out party and also kind of a disappointment, which is weird. They're kind of in a unique situation where everything came together just as all their fans were probably hoping it would in the regular season. And then they got what should have been, or what most people thought was going to be a decently easy matchup in the first round, and had a chance to Wes, stop making that face, and had a chance to make it to the second round. As this young team, this upstart team, and they kind of just imploded. I don't think
Jalen Brunson said no.
he had a damn good series. I can't deny it. Um, they Their roster is mostly the same as it was last year. They added Max Strus. I don't think anything else really too significant. What they're really probably banking on is some kind of improvement on the offensive end for Evan Mobley. I think that's the most obvious way that this team gets noticeably better uh, over the course of this season. Evan Mobley, who's a guy who I was really high on coming out of the draft, dub. That's a dub for me. But who still has some major offensive limitations, which were very, very noticeable in that series. Can't really take anybody in the post. Isn't a reliable spot up shooter. Certainly isn't going to create off the dribble. Certainly isn't going to play make. He's kind of just there. And unless, I mean, he is elite on the offensive end, which is why he's allowed to even be out there. But you have to be Rudy Gobert level to justify the lack of offensive output he was giving them in that series. So to me, the onus is really on him, more so than anybody else on that roster to improve if this team wants to see a jump from being a first round exit to a potential maybe Eastern Conference Finals team. But with that being said, I'd still put them in the playoff tier solidly.
I
Yeah, I
wanted
agree
it.
with the.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just
I
want to add,
agree
they
with-
also did get Niang.
They did.
Yeah, and Amoni Bates. But yeah, I agree with the end result of playoff team. But I do agree that I think their ceiling is ultimately reached with Evan Mobley reaching that superstar level. Like I don't think we saw in the first round like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland kind of like as much as Evan Mobley fell off, they also kind of failed as
The lights were
playmakers.
brighter than
And
expected.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know like in how many years that comes and like how good Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland still are by that point that Evan Mobley reaches his prime and is because he reminds me of Tim Duncan. Like I could definitely see him being the best player on a championship team because he can anchor your defense.
What did you just say?
Evan Mobley, he can be the best player on a championship
Reminds
team.
you of who?
Tim Duncan.
Hey, let's say. I mean, hey, it's a bold comparison.
Like a young
I
Tim
respect
Duncan.
it
Like
though.
I could see him becoming a Tim Duncan. Like because Tim Duncan's not he's like a 6'10", so is
I mean, you're
Evan
right.
Mobley.
It's just like that's
Not right now, not right now.
pretty high bar you're setting for my guy Evan Mobley.
Yeah. I respect him. He's still so young and he's already like such a good defender. And
He really is.
yeah. So that's my
So
take.
would you have him on playoff? Would you also have them playoff or play in?
Yeah, firmly playoff. And then like I just don't like with their timeline, like does Evan Mobley's prime lineup with the two guards.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think they are a pretty solid playoff team, but I just don't see them going very deep into the playoffs. They're still relatively young. They do have like one of the lower average ages for a team in the NBA. I forgot their exact average, but they're pretty low. I think they have a good future. They just have to keep on, I guess, keep on getting good pieces, keep on working at their game. Don't lose any big guys. Don't lose like, Mitchell or Mobley or Allen or something. Keep on going, keep on working at it. I could see them being solid contenders in maybe 2 or 3 years. Not this year though, unfortunately. I think they're a first or second round exit.
That's a pretty fair assessment.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the Charlotte Hornets.
All right.
D. Let's move on.
Dude, do I want to?
I think they're one of those teams where it's like, okay, like ideally it'd be like, blow it up, but like blow what up? Like blow what up? They suck. Their star player has been in the league for what? Now this is what, his third, fourth season now?
Is it,
Yeah.
Is his fourth? If it's his fourth, oh my God, I'm getting old.
It's like Wiseman's draft, so 2020.
Third. Okay, thank God it's not his fourth, dude. It would have been a very old moment.
But it's like, yeah, exactly. What blow it up with what? Like, do what? Like, what do you do? There is nothing to do. You have Gordon Hayward, who's rotting. You have Terry Rozier. You have LaMelo, obviously. You got
The number 2 overall pick, Brandon Miller.
You do, but honestly, I'm gonna be honest. Hot take or whatever. I think the
Bust.
culture, I don't know about bust, but I think the culture is so bad at the Hornets franchise. He's just not gonna reach his potential. They are a terrible franchise to be a part of. Those guys are showing up to games high. They're not taking their job serious. They're just not serious. They're not professionals. They're not professional athletes. They take this as a joke. You got a guy like Miles Bridges.
Okay, I was about to. I mean, like, okay, so to the Miles Bridges thing, let me I just kind of need to rant about this. So
Kind of cut off my flow, but all right.
I know, but I just need to say this. So the Charlotte Hornets, you had a guy on your roster who like who beat the shit out of this woman, right? Like just a total scumbag. Just a piece of shit. It's proven in court. We all know he did it. He's been documented to have, harassed her, stalked her and stuff. Prior, post, whatever you want. Like he did it. To re-sign him and immediately have it blow up in your face as he gets arrested again is the most beautiful form of karma I think I have seen in a while. That was one of the most deserved things I have ever seen.
Well, when did he get arrested again? I missed that.
Oh, it was like a couple days ago. Let's see.
They're desperate.
For what? What did he do?
What did he do this time? I think he was the. Oh yeah, he attacked his ex-girlfriend's car, the same girl that he had already had.
Wow.
Yeah. So like he doesn't belong in the NBA. He probably belongs behind bars. But setting that aside, like from a team like culture standpoint, to go out and re-sign him, it's just beyond words. And that's why.
Absolutely, and that just comes back to my point.
Yeah, exactly.
You're drafting a second overall pick. I feel very confident that he is not going to pan out super well. Like he'll be good, but just good. Nothing much. Just like it won't be anything meaningful. It won't be anything going towards winning a chip, And I'm so happy that they didn't get the first pick, because if Wemby went there, literally he would have just been stuck. Like obviously him and LaMelo, that combo would have been insane. But again, the culture is so horrible. It's a horrible franchise to be a part of. It's an unprofessional franchise. It's a joke. It's a joke of a franchise. It's just a bunch of dudes bunch of immature kids who got a load of money, got hella woman, got hella famous. And what's happening? This is what happens. You show up to play-in games high. You don't take your job serious, and your franchise is a literal joke. There's no like path to anything. You can't blow it up, because what do you blow up? I mean, they're not gonna. I mean, they could tank, but I don't know.
Well, they're gonna. I mean, the roster's not good enough to do anything other than tank. So that's what they will be doing.
But I genuinely don't think they will be, like, unless somebody gets injured or something. Like they have a okayish enough roster to kind of coast,
yeah.
But I don't think they'll be like a bottom of the barrel type team. They will be a D team, like the Bulls. It'll be like a Bulls type situation. I don't think they'll be a lottery team, to be honest.
Because here's the thing, like there's actually a couple players on the roster, like Mark Williams specifically, who I think are probably being underrated by like the general NBA community or whatever, who I really do think could be like the potential future centerpiece for a playoff team. Uh, but with that being said, they still go in the D tier because I just cannot believe they re-signed Miles Bridges. 3 days ago, 3 days ago, I would have said, okay, maybe they're a lottery team. They're building towards something. They have pieces. I can't believe they did that, man. And to have it blow up in their faces like that, it's everything that you talked about with the culture, all that stuff. Yeah,
The only
they're an
positive
unserious
thing of
franchise.
this franchise is that they got Jordan more net worth than LeBron. That's the only positive about this franchise. That's the only damn positive about this franchise. But yeah, I'm very confident D. Just I hate the Hornets. I hate them. I hate LaMelo. I literally hate LaMelo. I hope he never. I hope he doesn't. I hope he has like a never gets past the first round type situation. I hate him. I freaking hate his guts.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I'm
at least
honestly,
Lonzo, I do respect because he kind of had to go through some crap. You could tell he had to really work on his craft. He changed his whole jumper. He's a good, solid piece to a team. LaMelo's like he's a joke. He's playing 2K. Like, get out of your bubble, bro.
I'm honestly like Luki. I'm like higher on Lamelo than I think a lot of people. Honestly, I really think he's like top 25, top 20 level. But again, it's like they just
He's
he's not
unprofessional.
serious.
That's my
He's
problem.
not
He's not serious.
serious.
He's unprofessional. I think he's extremely, extremely talented. I think he's so damn good. He is way better than Lonzo. He's way better than Lonzo could ever be. LaMelo is extremely good. But the problem is, like I said, he's unprofessional. I don't like unprofessional players. You're given an opportunity that millions and millions and millions of people want. You got so much money. You got so much opportunity. And how do you treat it? Like a joke. Showing up to games high, not like taking your job serious. Like, dude, unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. I hate this franchise.
Wes, what are your opinions on
Yeah, I
our
definitely think like being a young team that's bad is not necessarily a bad thing. Like Houston, OKC, Pistons, they're all young and they're kind of bad, but it's kind of fine because they have a direction. But the Charlotte Hornets, I don't know. I don't really like you guys said, they're not really building a culture that's productive towards winning. I don't really think.
That's a really good way to put it. They're not building a culture that is productive towards winning. You look at the Thunder, dude. That is like such a beautiful rebuild. Look at the culture. Like you look at that team's culture. They want to win. They're working hard. You know, one of my favorite things was when he got drafted last year before he got injured, and one of like the summer league games or whatever. And he had a decent game, and he brought the Australian guy Giddy. And he was like, he was like these guys or something like that. It was like some really, really like I was like impressed. It's like his like second game, and he's already like making that bond of teamwork, of that brotherhood that you need to win a chip. I hate the Hornets. The next on the list are the Detroit Pistons. We can switch it up. Wes, you could start if you want.
I really like this team. I don't know. It's kind of tough to because I think this is going to be their breakout young year. So they're going to be at least a play-in team, in my opinion. They went from, I think they were like bottom of the barrel last year. So play-in team. I could go bold and say playoff, but I think Cade Cunningham is going to have a major jump, and he's got a lot of tools around him to use to really just become the point guard of that team. So I'll go playoff team, like below the Cavs, but a playoff team.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'll take the second. I think they will make a jump. I think Cade will also make a jump. I really I think they have a good young core. They're building towards something. They definitely are. Killian Hayes, like we said, Cade, one of the Thompson twins,
Ivy, Jaden Ivey.
Jaden Ivey, James Wiseman, do I dare say? So they have something going for them. They also did pick up Bagley. So I guess like a common trend is like they're picking up bum centers. Bagley, he was a bust. Wiseman, he was a bust. But
Bagley and Wiseman is such a crazy duo.
it's such a lethal combo of bumness. Like that's a pretty lethal combo. But I guess my point is they picked them up because they were low market value, and they do see that hey, maybe they could change them. They can make them better. Maybe like a Warriors, JaVale McGee type thing, where kind of bring a player's value up, make them become a productive member of a team. But I don't see them as a playoff team. I'm gonna be honest. I think they're a play-in team, barely. Yeah, to be honest, barely. I think they're a barely play-in team, and I guess Thomas is kind of the deciding vote. between
Well,
the two of us.
I don't know if I'm much of a deciding vote because I think I have essentially the same take as both of you guys.
But Wes
Um,
said playoff,
what
and I said play-in.
No, you didn't. Wes. You said playoff team, like
Yes, yes.
top 6 seed. Okay, well then I will be the deciding vote. Yeah, they're not. They're
Cade's
probably
gonna
not
be
the
an all-star. Cade's gonna be an
Cade's
all-star.
gonna be an all-star. It's
Yeah, yeah.
unquestionable.
I definitely get behind that.
Cade Cunningham has a feel for the game like very few young players I've
Some would
ever
say like
watched.
LeBron James when he was young.
He plays so unbelievably in control. When he has the ball, he is absolutely, completely, unquestionably in control of the offense. It's
Absolutely.
genuinely beautiful to watch.
Led the U.S. in the FIBA World Cup.
The roster around him, I mean, you guys didn't actually mention the actual best center on the team, Jalen Duren, um, who is still like literally like 19, a literal
Oh,
teenager.
we did miss him. We did miss him.
I really don't think because I do believe that he's genuinely the best option at center for them, and the fact that he's 19 does not bode well for them being a playoff team. I just don't see how you can be starting a guy that young or be relying on a guy that young to play big minutes for you and be a top 6 seed. Jaden Ivey, somebody who I was very high on coming out of college, had some serious inefficiency issues last year. That's another thing that can really kill you in big games. I'm also still not totally sold on his fit next to Cade. But with that being said, Cade can absolutely carry them to being a 10, 9, 8 seed potentially. Bojan, I love Bojan.
I would agree.
He's a great fit next to Cade. Spot up shooting. He's never going to do too much. Never going to need to be more involved than you want him to be. But I mean, the front court. Oh my God, it is kind of a disaster scene. You have Wiseman. You have
It's the
Bagley.
battle. It's the battle of the bus.
You have Isaiah Stewart, who's fun, but he just doesn't provide what I think teams are looking for in bigs nowadays. At least not in enough quantity to be like a meaningful contributor.
I mean, I think
So
you guys are selling
I really think
Bagley.
that's going to hold them back from being like a legit playoff team.
I think you guys are selling Bagley a little short. Like he's definitely a bust, but he's not. He's still like a semi-productive center, and he doesn't have to be like some insane star next to Cade. And I don't know. The East isn't as like deep as the West, so that's why I can kind of see them like sneaking in. That's why they would be bottom of the playoff teams for me, but or top of the play.
You kind of make a point about the East not being as deep, and that's why I'm actually slowly starting to think maybe the Hawks could sneak into the playoffs. So I think based off, because I kind of did forget the East. Now that I'm kind of going through it, it is a lot weaker than the West. It still
100%.
is. It's still way weaker. Obviously, it's way better than LeBron just kind of like waddling to the freaking finals, facing no one, facing the freaking baby Celtics, and then it being considered a great. Look at the greatness. LeBron James barely beating Jason Tatum at 19. So I think let's still go on, but the Hawks I may bring up, but I still have the Pistons as a play-in team, maybe barely. Like I could see them edging in. But I don't see them I don't see them as a playoff team. So I think that's a 2 out of 3. Therefore, unfortunately, where do you see them in the play-in place? I think I have them behind the Nets, Thomas.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that.
Okay.
I think that's right where they belong.
Apologies, Wes. Moving on. Now we got the Pacers. I think who wants to take this one?
Policy can.
All right. Well, I was actually going to say the exact thing about you because I feel like you're probably the highest on them out of all of us. Maybe. Actually, oh, really? Interesting. Okay. Well, okay. The Pacers are a weird one because, like, they are unquestionably they're building towards something. They have Tyrese, who is very, very good. They have a roster of a lot of these kind of like borderline, you know, maybe are they role players? Are they stars? You know, type of players around him. It's very much kind of like it's kind of like they're the Luka Mavericks, except it's Tyrese who's just a worse version of that, where they kind of just surround this one offensive engine with a bunch of role players and kind of let him do his thing.
I was
The
gonna say they're
problem with
kind of
that,
like the Hawks.
that is also a good comparison. I mean, the problem really is just like you look up and down this roster. Outside of Tyrese, there's not a lot of like who is going to be doing secondary creation, shot creation on this roster. I mean, I guess it's going to have to be Mathurin, but like
Yeah.
that's. I mean, he was great last season, but that's not really like I'm seeing some people put them as a potential playoff team. I don't see it. I would also put them in play-in. And yes, I am aware that we're kind of stacking up the play-in teams next
Yeah,
year,
that's what I'm
but
saying too.
that's kind of what the East is like this year. There's a lot of
Yeah,
teams who
I
are going
agree
to
with that.
be bunched up around that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spot.
I
Yeah.
agree. I would definitely agree with that. That is something I totally could get behind. I think just kind of continue with the flow. I think your analysis is pretty good. I have them like kind of a Hawks team where it's like, yeah, they got a great guy in Tyrese, and they got some solid big men like of course like Miles Turner is a solid big man. They do have some good role players like Bruce Brown. They picked up TJ McConnell, Buddy Hield. They're pretty solid. I think they also picked up Obi Toppin this season, or was it last season? I can't remember. But
I think it's this season. Obi Toppin was on the Knicks, wasn't
the
he?
Knicks, I believe he was. They got also Benedict Mathurin. So they got like kind of solid pieces where it doesn't make them entirely like a lottery team or a D team where it's just like, okay, they got no idea. But I don't think it gives them enough to push him over to the playoff team. I think they still need one more quote unquote star. They need another piece where it's like, okay, they could kind of have they could lower the load on Halliburton. Because obviously like the Luka Mavs comparison is pretty good, but obviously Halliburton is not Luka.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
He's not Luka. And Luka was a playoff team while being Luka.
Yeah,
Halliburton's obviously not Luka, so I would personally have them as a play-on team. But the question after what Wes puts them as is where in this play-in team. But Wes, first you say where you put them.
Yeah, I think playing sounds about right. At least I like them. Like it's kind of bad to bring up the Hornets again, but they're definitely a better version of what the Hornets could be. Like they actually have a direction with their young guy. So play in, yeah, and then
But now where okay, obviously I have them ahead of the Pistons.
I like that spot. I like that spot, honestly.
yeah, you kind of I would put them behind the Pistons, but you kind of 2v1 me, so
I mean,
but it's kind of splitting hairs, but
the thing with this Pacers roster is like you look up now, there are a couple guys where it's like if they hit and they play the absolute best they can, like Jarris Walker, Mathurin, Nesmith, all these guys where it's like there's a version of this team out there that's probably in the playoffs. That's why I'm like I maybe would be tempted to put them a little bit higher.
I just think Mathurin and Jarris are just too young at
They're
this
just too
point.
young,
So
yeah, and again, it's just like there's no creation.
Yeah,
Like,
I
there's
think
no playmaking
the
outside of
Hawks,
Halliburton, so I
Nets,
wouldn't.
Pacers are gonna be like this. They're gonna be very
Yeah.
close. They're gonna be very, very close to each other. There'll be a very little bit differentiating the three. But I think Hawks, Nets, Pacers. Honestly, I may even have the Nets over the Hawks. I don't know. What do you think, Wes? Because I know obviously Thomas has the Hawks over the Nets, but I
Please
low-key,
don't do that
I
to
kind
me,
of have the
guys.
Nets over the Hawks, if I'm being
I mean,
honest.
the Hawks. I mean, the Brooklyn's defense is going to be like elite this year. I think so. I
That
mean,
is.
that's enough to rack up some regular season wins.
I
I think.
agree, and I
Hey,
think
you know what? I'll buy more Ben Simmons stuff. Sure, you can put them over.
yeah, I think that kind of makes more sense to me. Look, and I really hope Ben Simmons could turn out to be good. I really do. I really, really do. I think he's one of those other cases like LaMelo, like an unprofessional guy. But I think maybe getting like slapped in the face really hard by reality has maybe woken him up from his deep slumber of unprofessionalism. And maybe he could kind of take a route like Lonzo and be like, all right, holy crap, I gotta kind of put in those hours.
Didn't work on Poole.
Well, Poole got the bag and then he became horrible. Simmons' bag is almost running out. Like his contract has what, 1 year left, 2 years left?
Wait, there's no way this is a contract year for him.
I think it's a year before, or it may be his contract year.
It is not a. Oh, that would be, dude. If it was a contract year, I'd have some more stuff to say. But yeah.
So his next year is his contract.
It's next year.
So it gives him enough time to be like, all right, guys, I'm gonna have 2 good seasons.
I'm back.
I'm back.
He's
Probably
back.
not
He's
a.
so back, guys. You're not even ready. I'm telling you guys.
All right. I want it. I did buy $35 of stock. Hopefully it could get me a couple of bucks, but I'm not taking a loan out on him. The next is the Miami Heats. The Miami Heats. I don't know why I made it clear. I think Wes, why don't you start it? Because you're big on Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah, they're definitely a play-in team. I have them. It's kind of hard to
Play
convince
in or
people that they're.
playoff?
I mean, playoff. That's what I meant. Playoff. They're definitely a playoff. I think
Okay.
they're going to be a little below the Cavs record-wise because they're not usually a strong regular season team anyways. So,
It's true.
but I mean, I could see them going ahead of the Cavs. It doesn't really matter. But they have a superstar. They have their defense still. Hero's going to be healthy. They got Josh Richardson. They didn't get Dame, but they got Josh Richardson, I guess. So there's basically the same team from last year. It's just lost a few of their role players, but same core is still there that got them to the finals. So
I guess you kind of make a really good point that they did lose a fair bit of their big pieces. Like they lost obviously LA
Strus.
Man, Strus, they lost
Ga-
not they lost Gabe Vincent, they lost Max Strus. But I think it's more or less the same. I think they are going to be like a playoff team, and I think they're gonna go further into the playoffs than the Cavs. So that's why I would personally have them ahead of the Cavs. Yeah, like regular season they may be worse, but I think just playoff wise, they will be better than the Cavs.
yeah, I could get behind that. Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
personal take. And last but not least,
I mean, what is there left to say about the Heat? Like, I mean, we all know the story. It doesn't look like it, but we all know this is a scary team in the playoffs. I mean, okay, you look at this roster, like they are going to be at points during this season giving very heavy minutes to like Haywood Highsmith, Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez. I mean, Josh Richardson is going to be in their starting lineup. Like, I mean, some of this stuff just screams like play-in type team, but we all know that's not who they are because Jimmy Buckets and Bam Adebayo, despite outward appearances, are a top 5 duo in the NBA. It has been proven beyond point of contention. The problem is, and I think this has always been their problem, is that yeah, like they're just I can never see them as a real contender because where does the offense come from outside of Jimmy Butler? It's not coming from 37-year-old Kyle Lowry. Is it coming from Tyler Hero? Is that enough? Like where is the playoff offense on this roster that I can take seriously and say, oh yeah, they're really going to be a legitimate threat this year, and not just like another, I guess, they have that dog in them and then get eliminated
they got
by
that
an
dog
actual good team. The Heat are, I think it's just kind of similar to like we were talking about with the Clippers in the Western Conference, where we know how their season's going to go already. There no games have been played, but we just know what the story is with them. And unless something really unusual happens, I think it's going to play out the same way it's played out the last couple of years. So yeah, playoff team,
I'd have
probably a
to
high
agree.
playoff team.
And
but
that's why, like, in a way, they have some D tier characteristics. Not like they are a D tier team, but what do I mean by D tier characteristics? As in that they're not really making progress for winning a chip. They're kind of stuck in this awkward area where they were going all out for Dame. And if they had gotten Dame, dude, contenders for sure. But unfortunately, they couldn't. And they've always been stuck in this kind of awkward area where, like, they got that dog in him. They got that dog in him, but that dog does not get you chips. Yeah, he's Jordan's son, but come on. That's not going to get you a ring. You know what I mean? So they do have some D tier characteristics, unfortunately. As much as I love Jimmy Butler and as much as I want him to win a ring, but it's just not. He's not going to win a ring this year. And it's just like, what's next? 2020, they couldn't win a ring. 2021, 2022, 2023. Now it's 2024. It's an unfortunate situation for the Heat franchise to be in because they got a great coach. They got great pieces around, or like in Butler and Bam and Hero, but they're getting older. They're not getting younger. And I don't know what you guys think about that D tier characteristics take.
No. If you're a threat to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, you can't put them in D. Even though I
No, no, no,
understand.
no. I'm not saying D. You didn't hear what I said. I said D tier characteristics. They're not a D tier team at all.
I mean,
But
What
what
does
does D tier characteristics mean? Like I said, I'll repeat
No
it.
direction.
No direction. They're stuck.
I
They're
mean,
stagnant. They're like stuck in this like back and forth phase. They're not making any progress.
But they have at least-
they'll take one step forward, then one step back.
they have another couple years of being one piece away, and that's all that really matters. Sure, they didn't get Dame. And that, they're. I mean, just honestly, just wait. I mean, wait till the deadline this year. You never know.
I mean,
There's-
again, this is as of
I
now.
don't really
This
see
is
that.
as of now. This is as of now. And as of now, I definitely think they have D tier characteristics. But you do make a good point. They're just one big piece away. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll have to see. I think I hate how they're in this weird area where they're like one step away from being a championship contender team, but they're not always quite there. But yeah, I think that covers that. Thomas, you gave your analysis on them as well, right?
Yes, I did.
So I think
I cut my teeth.
I think playoff team against ahead of the Cavs. Okay, now the Toronto Raptors. D. Let's move on now.
Yes, please, nobody
agree.
object to D, dude. Oh my.
I agree.
It has to be a D, dude. They're like, again, it's just like, what are they doing?
Wes, earlier you sent a picture that I think is actually unbelievably characteristic of the state of the Toronto Raptors franchise. It was for our viewers at home. It was a photo of
Which
the
season moves?
Jumbotron.
Which off-season moves excite you the most? Signing Dennis Schroeder. New
Head coach
new head
Darko
coach
Ratrovic.
drafting Grady Dick.
Grady Dick, yeah.
Grady Dick,
and then
re-signing
signing
Jakob Poeltl.
Jakob Poeltl.
Which of those get you the most hype, guys? That was on the Jumbotron at the Toronto Raptors Arena for their preseason game. For our viewers at home, just so I mean, just so you guys are
I
aware.
mean, it's pretty tough. Like
I can't choose.
I can't as a Raptor, and it was 0% for all of them, right?
I didn't participate, but I mean the fans are happy. I mean,
I mean,
they're not going for that shit, but they're happy.
Copium. That's major copium. It's so tough as a franchise because like they needed to blow it up 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and they could have gotten some solid pieces, but now.
Yeah, I mean they let Van Vliet walk.
They let Van Vliet. I mean, Van Vliet
you
was
get nothing.
They get nothing.
I mean, let him walk.
I mean, it's
Who
good for
wants
their
him?
franchise, but why not just get something?
They could have gotten something for him 2 years back. He was extremely overrated. They could have gotten something for him, but instead they let him walk. Siakam's getting older. His value's low. OG's kind of in this awkward area. He's kind of been on the market, but
Yeah,
not
he's in
really-
all the trade rumors.
But
Oh my
the
God,
Raptors
yeah.
are insane that they're not accepting anything as well. So it's just such a sad. Like I like the Raptors, but they're not as bad as the Bulls or Hornets. That's why I kind of put them all the way on the far left. But absolutely D tier. Like such a sad franchise, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Agreed.
like, what do you? Okay, so you have a guy like Boucher, right? I mean, Boucher's a perfect example of like the state of the Toronto Raptors franchise. It's like this guy who is plenty good enough to maybe sneak into a rotation, on really any team around the league, but is also has unquestionable flaws and weaknesses that make him not particularly intriguing in any meaningful sense. But he's on the roster and he's going to be in the rotation. I mean, you could really say the same thing about like a guy like
OG.
I mean, no, OG has probably a place on like a contending team, but like a guy like Gary Trent Jr., a guy like Thad Young, a guy like Dennis Schroeder, like these are all guys who
Otto Porter Jr.
if they're the one guy on your team who's like in that mold, okay, like you're probably a contending team who brought them in to be like a hired gun for the season. When you're just stacking your roster with them and like making your entire starting lineup consist of these guys, you're doing something wrong. This is not you're on the wrong path.
Absolutely, yeah.
You ask me, everybody on their roster except for Scotty Barnes, gone. Whatever you can get for them, take it. I mean, obviously, like you just signed Dennis Schroeder, so
Even
you just
Grady Dick?
re-signed. That's true. Not Grady Dick. I thank you for correcting me.
Young piece, yeah.
Yeah, Grady Dick and Scotty Barnes, they stay. Everybody else gone. I cannot believe they re-signed Jakob Poeltl. What a dumb move for that franchise. What are you going to do with
Yeah,
Jakob Poeltl?
the fans are pretty damn excited.
What are you going to do with him, bro? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a D franchise.
I
Absolute
mean,
D
I will
franchise.
say I do kind of like the Dennis Schroeder. Like, it's kind of a nice pickup just to help them coast through and like because he's a good defender, so he can kind of influence the young guys.
But
But
that's the thing is like
FIBA world champ.
I think he's probably going to help them get back into the play-in, which is like not what they need to be doing right now.
I mean, I don't see them getting in the play-in.
I don't even see them getting the play. I think Schroeder just wanted a bag, and they were only one offering him the best bag, and he went,
All
I don't
right,
know, man.
all right,
Yeah.
Toronto it is.
Toronto it is, baby. So sad franchise, heartbreaking for the Canadians. They really just went downhill. I mean, at least they got a chip in 2020, so it's like
19.
Oh yeah, 2019. So they could cope for the next like 100 years until they win another one. So yeah, I think pretty standard D tier team. All right, so the Bucks, super easy.
Contenders, yes.
Contenders,
Yeah.
obviously. All right, moving the Knicks. I mean, jokes aside, I mean, not much to say about the Bucks. That's not obvious. Look, they got one of the best point guards in the league. They got what they needed in that offensive firepower. They got the shot creating scorer that they've desired, where they just kind of needed like Chris Middleton or Giannis to kind of force a shot or Drew Holiday or something, So now they got a guy to carry huge amounts of defensive load. Not to mention they still have Giannis, they still have Chris Middleton, they still have all the depth that they've been having that has made them contenders every single year. But this time they just have Dame Dalla. They got one of the best, like I said, one of the best point guards in the league, one of the best scorers in the league, one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Of course, number 2 to Steph, always. I can't believe that used to be a conversation. Like, that used to be an actual thing. People would be like, is it Dame or Steph? All right, brother. Come on, guys. Let's get better. I'm a casual, but we got to be better than that. I remember Kyrie and Steph. That was a convo at one point. Like, it's so damn disrespectful to a top 10 player, of course, all time. Maybe even the best point guard of all time. In some people's books. But anyways, I think easy contenders. I think they're the favorite from the East. I honestly have them.
Unquestionably.
I have them as a favorite to win it all. To be very honest. I have them over the Nuggets. They're my preseason favorites to win it all. Just because I don't think the Nuggets are going to be able to have such a picture-perfect season, a playoff run, as they did last year. I just don't think I just don't think so. Because it's more pressure, I think, when you are the champions already, to execute again flawlessly as you did last year. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to just because everyone's expecting it. And if you slip up, it's a problem. Last year, though, they were the first time winners. They had things to prove. They've won it. So now it's just pressure because it's like, oh yeah, of course they're gonna win again. So it's just pressure. The Bucks have something to prove. So I personally
But they've already won.
They have, but they've had a couple of disappointing seasons.
Guys, why do we
not
keep
not to make
forgetting about the Warriors when talking about our contenders.
not to make Giannis have another like seizure, but they had a failure of a season. They failed. Don't come at my throat.
I don't see failures. I don't see failures.
When you don't get
failure,
when you don't get a
call that
promotion,
failure?
when you don't get a promotion, is it a failure? Yeah, when you're supposed to get a promotion, when you have secured the promotion, like you are supposed to get a promotion, and the bum who just got hired freaking kicked your butt. Yeah, you that is a failure of a season.
I don't
Giannis.
consider that a failure.
Yeah, sure, buddy. But definitely contenders ahead of the Celtics. You guys could add, disagree.
I mean,
I'll say best duo in the league, and I definitely agree them over the Celtics. But
I get behind best duo in the league.
I have kind of a problem with them over the Nuggets.
Oh, Giannis, Thomas, can you mute yourself when you yawn? Sorry.
yes, I'm just gonna yawn louder. The more you say it, the louder I'll yawn.
We already went over the trade, so watch that video if you.
That's
Yeah,
what I was about to say. Like,
so
we
link
did
in the
discuss
comment
this.
section down below. You hit the eye
Little
icon.
little bit of a plug.
Little bit of a plug.
I mean, but we literally just
Wait, okay, I forgot. Who was the best duo in the league for you? Is it Jamal and Jokic?
Yeah, obviously they just won the chip.
Is that what I said? Did I just
hope
contradict
so.
myself? I
No,
might
no,
have
no.
just
It's definitely
contradicted
Hey
myself.
man, people
It's
change their
Damon
minds
Giannis.
sometimes.
It's Damon Giannis. It's Damon Giannis.
Dude, that's
Wes, don't get peer pressured. He
Ooh.
also said the Jazz would not make the playoffs, and they were the first seed that season.
we already. I mean, okay, but again, like we did spend. Like seriously, guys, if you're one of our devout fans listening to this, go back and listen to our
Bro, and then what
our,
happened
our,
to
our
the
trade
Jazz?
analysis
They lost
again
to the
because
Clippers, didn't they? The Jazz lost to the
Such a
Clippers, right?
heartbreaking season, bro. We were so passive aggressive too watching that series.
I knew they were frauds, man.
Playoffy.
Freaking
It's a hard job being right all the time, but somebody has to do it.
Dude, we haven't even talked about the real best duo in the league.
I
But
mean,
we're
yeah.
about to. We're about to.
God, dude, I'm not excited for this one. Oh, geez.
D tier. Let's move on. The Knicks are a D tier team. Let's move on.
Okay,
Let's not even talk about it.
Wes, you have to lead the floor on this one. Just
Absolutely.
get it all out of your system. Get
Yeah,
it all out of the way.
let's hear your atrocious take, and then we will move on.
All right, it's not that atrocious. It's actually pretty reserved. They're a playoff team.
They're not
they're the
contenders. What?
They're not. I got to be honest.
Wow.
But I think I'm actually putting them ahead of the Heat in terms of playoff teams. I
would agree with that. I
would take them over
I
the Heat.
fully agree with that. I have them ahead of the Heat as well.
I think Jalen Brunson can perform up to Jimmy Butler's level. And I think Jimmy Butler just legitimately had a better team last year. So, but the Heat are not as good this year. And the Knicks are better. 1 year better.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I really like the Knicks last year. They also did get DiVincenzo, underrated pickup. And as a Warriors fan, he is an extremely good pick. All the freaking casuals are like, "What is DiVincenzo doing? He's averaging like 3
Dude, he was one of the guys that like actually showed up for us like pretty consistently.
Absolutely.
So.
He is a very good pick, and I just really like their roster. I really like it.
DiVincenzo creating out of isolation in that series. That shit was disgusting. But I mean, hey, he responded when his name was called.
Absolutely. I really like I really like it. They got good solid role players. They got a star in I'm tripping, bro. They got a star in Brunson. Randall's a good piece. DiVincenzo's a good piece. Josh Hart. You got
RJ.
You got Emmanuel Quickly. You got so many good. Evan Fournier is a pretty good piece. Mitchell Robinson's all right. Like you got a lot of good solid pieces. Honestly,
Mitchell Robinson outplayed Evan Mobley.
That is true.
But I personally think that speaks more to what Evan Mobley was doing that series than what Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, that's true.
But I honestly have them as they are a deep playoffs team. Honestly, maybe hot take. If things go really well for the franchise and they really gel and they really make that step, including Randall, which he's just always missing that one step. They could maybe make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and face the Bucks to ultimately lose. But I could see them going to the Eastern Conference Finals. And if let's say the Bucks get injured, like Dame gets injured or something, I could see them beating the Celtics.
Because Dame got injured?
Like, as in, like, let's say Dame got injured and the Bucks didn't make the Eastern Conference Finals and the Celtics did. So it's like the Celtics and Knicks. Sorry, I didn't explain that properly. yeah. If
LaMelo gets injured.
If Dame gets injured, I see them for sure. So I could see the Knicks potentially making the Eastern Conference Finals. Like I said, though, with everything kind of going well, which is like a near impossible situation for things to go so well for a team and not so well for the other team. It's essentially like 2019 Raptors and Warriors. Like everything went wrong for the Warriors and everything went right for the Raptors. So kind of that type of beat. But I honestly am excited for the Knicks. I want them to do well. I like their team. The franchise, the front office, they've done a solid job of slowly making some steps forward. And Brunson was a huge piece. The meme that Thomas sent when they signed Brunson, the
small three.
The small three. That's hilarious. But
I mean, I think they're a good kind of aggressive.
A great pick. A great trade. And it shows that when you leave Luka, what happens? It's a LeBron effect. You leave LeBron, you leave Luka, your career goes to different places. But definitely, I really like that piece. Thomas, I know you're not going to agree.
Okay.
Contenders, Thomas.
Or the writer Kurt Vonnegut famously said, "In an insane world, a sane man must appear insane." And hearing you guys talk about the Knicks, I was just reminded of that quote. No, they will not be beating the Celtics in the playoffs. No, there's not even a chance that will happen. Jalen Brunson is an incredible player. The players around him are just not. I mean, seriously, guys, what are we doing? RJ Barrett shot 43% from the field last year. That's essentially at guard. That's your secondary creator. But no, Julius Randle, he was better. I mean, he improved. I'll give him credit, but that improvement consisted of going from actively removing any chance this team ever had to win a playoff game to like just kind of hurting them a little bit and occasionally providing some benefits. I mean, it's like they won that series because the Cavs underperformed. Like, don't get it don't get it backwards. They did not win that. They played better than I expected, and I was eating crow. I was wrong. But I was wrong about the Cavs. I was not necessarily wrong about the Knicks. They are built to make it to the maybe second round every year. They're built to win maybe 45 to 55 games every year. They're built to make the playoffs every year. They're not built to be contenders. They would need a huge shakeup on that roster around Jalen Brunson to really be contenders. I mean, Mitchell Robinson, he's literally a complete non-entity on offense. He does nothing. Uh, Julius Randle,
He's a great
so
lob threat. I don't know what
he's
you.
he's a good lob threat, but I mean that's essentially like, I mean it's as close as you can get to doing that. I mean he is a lob threat, but like he does in terms of like actually like maybe like handling the ball, maybe running like some like short roll type stuff. You can't do any of that with him. You can never post him up. You see, I mean, he's certainly not a shooter. Like the limitations are vast. Uh, Julius Randle, like don't get me, Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. I they're just too inefficient. You can't sell me on anything that doesn't somehow involve getting one or both of them off the roster because they're just too inefficient, and that inefficiency is consistently carried over to the playoffs. And that kills you. You have guys missing shots, you don't win games. Uh, I mean Jalen Brunson again. I will say nothing negative about him after I was proven wrong last year. I know when I'm wrong. I know when Wes is right. But we we saw really what the peak of this roster as it is currently constructed is. I really think they will be about as good this year as they were last year. I mean, maybe like Quentin Grimes, like has a mysterious, magical breakout year. Maybe that's where the improvement comes from. But I mean, anywhere else, no, I don't see it, man.
I
But
mean, I
I mean,
definitely.
but I do agree, playoff team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think that was
playoff
like
teams.
that was like the underlying theme anyways. We all kind of see them as playoff team.
Right.
I just think that, like I said, if everything goes really well, they all make that jump, that the chemistry is really well, they could maybe make the Eastern Conference Finals. That's like the maybe I could
And
give them.
their defense is actually pretty underrated, I feel
Oh,
like they're
it's
pretty
good.
deep at guards, and Randall and Barrett when they lock in are solid defensively. Mitchell Robinson as well is pretty.
Mitchell
I
Robinson is great. Is great on the defensive end. There's no denying it. And also like Josh Hart.
Mitchell
Yeah.
Robinson looks like an
Josh
angry
Hart.
bird. I'm just being honest. Like I'm just kind of looking at his picture. Bro looks like an angry bird. He kind of has big face syndrome. Unfortunately, I feel bad for him because he's obviously fit as an athlete, but damn, this brother's got a fat face.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson is kind of a pretty undersized guard, but
like actually, that's I just want to give a shout out to my guy Josh Hart, role player Jesus. Just absolutely would be a great piece on any team. There's not a team in the league you could pick that you put him on that he would not make better. But at the same time, I
he's
think
very similar to GP2. I kind
he
of get
really
the
is.
same vibe.
But at the same time, like he's such a Knicks player because like the ceiling is not really there. It's
Yeah.
all floor, no ceiling. That's
Yeah.
what I see when I look at this Knicks roster. So I mean, I think at this point I've definitely said my piece. So
So do you have them over? We all have them at playoff team, but would you take them over the Heat
I
if there was a series that started today?
Absolutely,
no.
I would 100% take them.
Hey man, agree to disagree, and I think I'm 2v1 here, so
Yeah.
I guess they will be in that left spot.
You love to see it. So far, I've always been on the 2 side, so you love to see it. I haven't been voted out yet.
Some people would say that makes you a sheep, but
Meh, meh.
meh.
Come on.
Wow, I think that's where we gotta sign off, guys. Hey man, appreciate the loyal fan base. Don't leave. We're gonna drop him from the cast. Immediately
got-
dropping him.
I got Thomas to let me do that alone. If I did this, that'd be kind of pretty.
All right, next we got the Orlando Magic.
Lottery team, right? We're all in agreement on that,
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is,
guys. I think we need at least one lottery team if it's gonna look. Or else it'll look
okay,
weird.
that's what I'm thinking, but
No, but speak your truth, bro. Slay.
it's just like when I think about it, I mean, they're as good or if not better than Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, I actually totally agree with that. I have them as a Pistons level team.
Yeah, I mean you're not.
Paolo showed out at Team USA. He's definitely showed he's committed to getting better as a player. First time
Markelle
All-Star-
Fultz is gonna be better. Gary
All-Star question mark.
Harris.
Yeah, you know what? No, you guys are absolutely right too. I take it all back. Yeah, no, you're right.
But like also,
I have them like somewhere. I personally have them over the Pistons, though, but it's like very close. I have them. It's like very close between them and the Pistons. I wouldn't necessarily be against them being behind the Pistons, but I definitely see them as a play-in team.
I mean, the roster is just too deep.
Yeah,
That's all
absolutely,
there is to it.
yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, look, Wagner, Banchero, Wendell Carter, Gary Harris, Marco Fultz, with the exception of Gary Harris, 4 of their 5 starters are clearly average to above average players at their position. One of whom I think is poised to make it have an insane breakout year and potentially like emerge as a borderline all-star in Franz Wagner. Another who was already a borderline all-star last year in Paulo Banchero. That's not to me, that's just not a lottery team. There's too much talent on their roster to be a lottery team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think they're well past their lottery stage. Now they need to develop. Maybe Jonathan Isaac could freaking not be made out of glass and play a game.
That's not happening.
Yeah, I mean,
if we're talking about realistic things, I think Anthony Black has.
By the way, speaking of Jonathan
game.
Isaac, you guys see him with that Cooper? She's like a right wing. You guys see that video?
Yes.
Dude, that was the cringiest crap ever. Like,
Dude, that's my favorite part about how whenever like right wing people have like get athletes onto their cause or whatever, they always say like NBA star. It's never like NBA
He
athlete.
hasn't stepped on the court in like 3 years.
It's like Enes Kanter. Like when he went on Fox News, they're like NBA star in his freedom. That I always
dude, that was so funny. I got clickbaited though. I was like, yo, I clicked on that. What's her name? Brittany Cooper, was her name?
I low-key I didn't know who she was until I saw that and I saw people making fun of it.
Yeah,
and I was like,
she's like the Ben Shapiro female version or whatever.
Damn.
Yeah, I think she got signed by the Daily Wire as well.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
dude, it's like she got the bag. She was in her contract year. She put up a good season.
She put up a good season. She got Jonathan Isaac on the show. That's crazy, man. But anyways, with that being said, I do have them as a play-in team. I'm guessing the common theme is behind the Pistons though, from you as well, Wes.
Yeah.
All right.
I see them as kind of like OKC last year. Like this is definitely their stars breakout season. Like Shea broke out kind of last year, but they're bottom of the plan.
Yeah. I would agree with that. The Wizards. That's actually an interesting one. So,
okay, lottery. We do have our lottery team. Let's go.
I mean, but
really,
come on, dude.
I don't think so.
Come on,
I don't
dude.
think so. I don't think they're a lottery team. I think they're a play-in team. You guys don't think they're a play-in team?
Lottery. They're
How many play-in teams can there be?
Dude, how many
Okay,
teams are
bruh. I mean, look, dude. What does it mean? Like, obviously,
no, but they're not a. No, they're just not, dude. I mean, like,
They're
let
bad.
me actually wait. No, I'm not to interrupt. Make your case. Sorry.
Look,
I'm interrupting.
Maybe it's a casual move for me to jump to that, but I think who are they being led by? They're being led by Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma.
Danny Avdia.
Yeah, actually, now that now that I'm looking at their
Right?
this is
right?
an atrocious lineup.
Like, come on.
Patrick Baldwin. Wow.
Oh, they got him. Nice.
I mean, they get Bilal, but wow.
Dude, literally,
This
he's gonna
is an
be
atrocious lineup. I
Bilal,
apologize.
whatever his name is the most obvious bust I think I've ever seen in the NBA. I literally think some scout was just like watching him play with Wimby and was just like, maybe if we draft him, Wimby will come to our team in 5 years. That's the only explanation I have. I
He's my Muslim brother. I can't be
oh,
hating on
you
him.
know what? He's gonna be very good.
Yeah, actually, wow. This team is so bad. Yeah, because they lost KP, they lost Beal. I kind of actually forgot about that. This is an atrocious team. This is a lottery team. Wow.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the Washington Wizards are just like such a joke to me because it's like, they're paying Landry Shamet $10 million this year. Did you know that?
I
He's
mean,
on
he's
the
cooking. He's getting his
Is
bag.
he on the
Why?
Suns? He's on the Suns, right?
Why are they
Or where
paying
is he?
Tyus Jones $14 million? What is going on here? Why are they paying DeLon Wright $8 million? What?
Why are they paying Jordan Poole?
I mean, that's an even bigger question. But it's like their contract situation has just been kind of a joke for a long time. They are slowly working their way out of it.
Yeah, honestly,
And
they are making a good positive stride towards rebuilding. I think Poole,
Yeah.
Kuzma, hopefully they kind of become professionals. Hopefully Poole freaking becomes a professional. But
mean-
yeah, I think I gotta apologize, guys. That's
I mean,
that was
there are those years in the rebuilding where you're just super like ultra bad, like the
This is-
Warriors
I mean, this is
3
that.
years ago.
this is that.
that's the thing about like the Jordan Poole move. I mean, to me, I mean, and I hope this is true for the sake of the Wizards franchise. To me, the Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma core is very much temporary. Like they're not going to be on that team in 2 years. They're going to be maybe as soon as this trade deadline, maybe the next trade deadline, maybe this offseason.
Really, you guys think
this next
so?
offseason? Yeah, they're going to be traded because why?
I think Poole
You
will
can't build
stay a
around
little
either of
more,
those
but-
guys.
I
You
think
can't
honestly.
build around either of those guys. Come on.
Okay, so I forgot.
Okay,
so
I don't think you can
Kuzma-
build around them. But...
No, I think Kuzma will leave because he's old. He's like older. He's 28. He's like in his quote unquote prime. So I think but I think they'll keep Poole.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you can build around him, but he can definitely be like a piece.
He could. I mean, I feel like in some universe he could be a championship winning piece, like a third option if he remembers how to play basketball.
I mean, he was
I mean
our
that's
third option.
that was the joke.
Oh. All right.
All right, but
I mean-
I apologize. I wasted our time with that. That should have been our lottery team, and then we should have moved on. We shouldn't even have spent a second on this team. It's so bad.
If you
Wow.
ask me, there's only one guy on this roster who's going to be around in 3 years, or should be around in 3 years, and that's Corey Kispert. He's one of those guys who I think people are
He's a
overlooking
dead
a
eye.
bit, but he is
Dead eye
such a good shooter. He absolutely will have a spot on
I
some
mean, he looks like a shooter.
quality team. Dude, I know, right? He will have a spot on a playoff
Like if he's
team
not a dead eye, what
somewhere.
is he?
But
No, I
everybody
agree.
else,
I agree.
no,
I think I think personally, I disagree. I think Poole will stay as well, and hopefully for my Muslim brother's sake, hopefully Bilal hoops. But we shall see. I think lottery team for sure.
they
The
have a guy on their
last team
roster-
on the list.
You know the Wizards have a guy on the roster named Xavier Cooks. That's a cool ass last name.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
better be good, dude.
he's been on their lineup.
Xavier Cooks.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
He was there. This not his first time with them.
Really, I didn't know who that was. Okay, anyways,
He's 28 years old, brother.
I'm totally digressing. That's just a
Oh
cool
wait,
name.
he's
Okay.
1 year pro though. He's 1 year pro, but
Oh,
but,
he's
but
like-
yeah.
He's probably
but-
like a G League guy, but hopefully he shows out this year because if there's a guy with the last name Cooks in the league, I know I'm rooting for him.
He he averaged 4 and 4 last season.
Oh shit, 4-4. He was cooking. Dare I say?
It's cooking. Jordan
Anyways.
Poole. Anyway, so the last team on the list, and let's just Wes. We gotta unite together. We
No,
gotta really
guys.
trash the Sixers. Just so
Guys,
we can
stop.
hurt him. We can hurt
Stop, guys.
Thomas. My opinion,
Contenders.
Yeah, how does it feel to be an Embiid guy?
Contenders.
D. Come on, Wes.
Contenders.
No, okay. Obviously not D. Joke side, but honestly,
I mean,
just
I
playoff
mean,
team.
I don't-
There's nothing more, nothing less.
Playoff? I don't know. I mean,
Contenders. Shut up, Wes. Stop.
Actually,
So
okay,
you
stop.
think D?
no. It's kind of like it would be D in the same sense that Toronto is D because
That's so
No.
insulting.
No. I disagree with that. I think what
That's
they
so
have
insulting.
D
Oh
tier
my God.
characteristics. They have D tier characteristics. Like I was saying about the Heat.
You're insulting me personally, Wes, when you say that.
But I think they are a playoff team. But like not.
I mean, okay, here's
like,
here's
they're
what I'll
not
say.
strong. They're not a good.
I
They're not a good
legitimately-
team. They're
I
a terrible
legitimately
franchise.
think they're a playoff team, but they're also a playoff team that like
That just sucks.
Harden, yeah, like your duo of Harden and unless Maxey like pops off, then I don't really like Embiid can't do it alone. He can barely make it through the regular season alone. So,
Yeah.
I mean, playoff team, yeah, I guess technically, but
But yeah, absolutely. I do have them in
D
the playoff
vibes.
team.
D
But
vibes.
definitely D vibes, dude. You hit the nail on the head. D vibes, absolutely. Like they got the huge pickup of Kelly Oubre. Wow, what a pickup. And they got Patrick Beverly, huge pickup. So more or less the same roster with a unhappy Harden, and we all know what an unhappy Harden looks like on a freaking roster. Fat Harden memes all over again. Hopefully he's eating, he's partying it up. But absolutely, they are a playoff team who has major D vibes. Pause. They will not make the finals. They're not going to win a chip. They need if I am the 76ers, like maybe it's just because I just hate them and Embiid is a fraud. Jokic,
I want Ben Simmons
Jokic
to
has
get
always
his
been better than
revenge.
Embiid. Jokic, thank God, Jokic won 2 MVPs. He's won a chip. Shut Thomas up. Thomas was riding it Embiid like no other. Embiid is better than Jokic. It's just because
He was
he's
up
white.
until last year, but
Nope,
nobody
not
wants
true
to
at
hear
all.
it.
Not true
Nobody
at all.
wants to hear it anymore.
However, if I'm the 76ers, I'm blowing this shit up. Trade them all. Trade them all. They've had the trust the process since 2011, right? Or something like that. So like, brothers, let's change it up. Keep Maxey. He's a young lad. Trade Harden. Trade Embiid. You know, trade all these guys. Trade Tobias Harris. Oh my God.
That's the thing. That's okay. If I could step in for a second. By
I'm
far
almost
the
done. I'm
most-
almost sorry.
Okay.
Let me cook.
Okay.
This team sucks. They suck.
Yeah, they don't.
They psychologically are damaged. That's the problem. Look, I'm gonna draw a
They have a
comparison
new
here.
coach, guys.
I'm
Come
gonna
on, please.
I'm gonna draw. They have a new coach.
Guys.
I'm gonna draw the comparison to my close to my heart, the Pakistani cricket team. They are psychologically damaged. Pakistan got their butts like it's like an understatement to say that it was like men against boys. India whooped Pakistan, like whooped. And it's not a cricket podcast, so I'm not gonna get to that. But I wasted 8 hours of my life. It's not because Pakistan's a terrible team. They have good pieces. They have the on the paper they're good, but it's that psychological damage. Pakistan can never beat India because India is Pakistan's daddy. The 76ers, their daddy is playoff pressure. Doesn't matter what it is. They just can't do it. They should have beaten the Celtics. That was their year. They are a sad franchise. Trust the process. Nope. Blow this crap up. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. Huge D vibes. Pause. Continue, Thomas.
Okay, look. Okay, first off, there's no question. You pointed out Tobias Harris. That Tobias Harris contract is the worst in the NBA when factoring
They
in.
chose Tobias Harris over
Oh,
me.
God, dude.
Who said that?
You don't. Yeah, you don't need to remind me. Like when factoring in what it's standing in the way of, in the form of actually getting Joel Embiid a legitimate, second option that's not James Harden. I think it's 100% the worst contract in the NBA.
He needs a
the
first
James-
option.
Facts. He needs a first option.
The James
He needs a
Harden,
Dame Dollar type of lad.
he does not, dude. Why would you put those two together?
Yeah, when
Literally-
Dame wins a chip with
How can
with
you choose the
Giannis?
one guy who's had arguably less success in the playoffs than Embiid in like twice the amount
but
of
why?
time
Because Dame
as
has
a
always been
quote-unquote
surrounded by a
superstar?
horrible.
Who's been to the conference finals? Dame has.
Absolutely. Who got
Embiid
absolutely
hasn't.
literally Dame's team? What was CJ McCollum doing? He was stepping out of bounds in a
What was-
double OT intense playoffs match. That's the type of team that Dame has been surrounded by. Embiid is the star, man. He had James Harden. He has all these like depth and all this and that. Come on, bro. Come on.
He doesn't have depth. Are you kidding me?
Are you
kidding me? Is that
brother?
Paul Reed?
Brother.
Oh yeah.
Brother. You look at their last year lineup. They
Paul
have
Reed-
like
Paul Reed and
Please.
PJ Tucker. That's his depth. And like 36-year-old PJ Tucker. He has Tobias Harris as the third option. He has a James Harden who.
but that's
goes
besides the
between
point.
being
He disappears himself too.
semi-decent and a total detriment.
He
the team's ability
disappears
to win.
himself too. Doesn't matter. He disappears.
Here's what I'll
himself, too.
say. Here's what I'll say. Nick Nurse is a championship winning coach. They have brought him in a last ditch effort to save this franchise. This is the year. Embiid needs to show that under a new coaching staff,
Yeah.
free from the influence of who I genuinely think was like a bottom 5 coach in the NBA, Doc Rivers, free from that influence, he can be a positive,
Unbelievable. All I'm hearing is trust the
championship
process.
winning
Trust the
superstar
process. It's a scam. It's a
in Philly.
scam. It's a
This is the
scam.
year.
It's a
This is
scam.
the year.
I feel so sad for Philly fans because it's a scam. They've been getting scammed every damn year.
The James Harden
Every damn
situation is
year they're
really
getting
bad
scammed.
though. If they cannot, I mean, and they're not going to, if they can't figure out something with James Harden, it will be another last year, and it will be the end of Embiid's time in Philly.
Embiid needs to get up and run. He needs to run.
Hopefully the Clippers come through and get them an offer that surrounds Embiid with some more
Wow.
actual
Another
depth,
injury
Terrence
prone.
Mann.
some more actual
Terrence
depth,
Mann, I guess.
and allows
Yeah, Terrence Mann. Let's go,
Tyrese
baby.
Maxey to take his rightful place as the second option.
Unbelievable. This is so sad. I feel so bad for Philly fans. You guys are not doing crap. Sorry. You had to trust the process for so many years for what? Embiid to get traded, for you guys to lose Jimmy Butler, to lose Ben Simmons, to lose James Harden, now to lose eventually Embiid. He needs to leave.
Look, here's the thing. It's unquestionable. The way that the 76ers front office after what's his name? The process guy. Not
The guy who Adam Sandler played, right, in that movie with Anthony Edwards and right. Is that the same?
No, not that. He played a scout in that movie. Hinkie,
Oh.
Sam Hinkie. God, I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, the way that the 76ers front office, in the wake of the firing of Sam Hinkie, handled just the general business of that team and what players they choose to keep, what players they chose to pursue, what players they chose to let go,
It
famously,
was genius.
was embarrassing. It's the worst.
And what's
bungling
unbelievable
of
is that
a-
like they had those
of a
players, they
championship
had
window I've
those
ever seen.
pieces, but they chose to just be like, nah, like we're good. They had them. It's not like a Heat type of situation where they're trying to get Dame Dollar and they couldn't get him. This team is unbelievable. This team is unbelievable, dude. This franchise is doomed.
They have
Wes,
cycled through
please
so
agree
much
with me.
talent. They have cycled through so
Please
much
agree with
talent.
me, Wes.
Yes, I agree.
They have
Thank
cycled through so
God.
much talent.
Thank
But this
God.
is the year.
Absolutely not. I'm
And
so
Thomas,
glad.
don't deceive yourself.
Thomas
I'm
is
not saying this
he's
is the year they're gonna win
Thomas
something.
is. You know what Thomas is? He's
I'm
those
saying this
guys
is the
like
year they
like
need
the
to.
crypto guys where like they
This is the
see
year
this
they
new
need
crypto. They see this new crypto, like this new coin, this new token. Man, I just invested 100K all my life
You can-
savings and pump it up, baby.
You
Pump
can
it up.
choose.
Pump
You
it
can
up.
choose
And they're
to.
like they're too deep in to realize
You can
they're
choose
like
to ignore the
delusional. They know they've
reality.
lost all their life savings and they're screwed.
You
They're
can choose
done.
to ignore the reality that Embiid is the kind of player that you can legitimately build a championship team around if you want to. I'm not
No,
saying
he
this is
can't.
it.
He hasn't won.
I'm not saying this is it, but I'm saying that this needs to be the year if Embiid wants to stay in Philly. That's the
It
extent of my
needs to
take.
be the year, but it doesn't mean it's gonna be the year.
I
Like,
don't think it's going to be the year either. I've never said that.
Huh?
I said they brought
Where
in
do you?
Nick Nurse.
So do you have them as a playoff team?
Obviously, I
as
have
well,
them
I
as a
guess, or-
playoff team. I was joking.
Where do you
about
have
this
them?
earlier. You think I'm
so
stupid?
okay, where behind this? Okay, where do we have them in this?
I would put them in between the Cavs and the Heat, personally. But first off, like,
That's fair. Honestly, I would even be okay with this.
But-
But
but here's the thing: is it
No.
really
Jimmy-
that?
all right.
Jimmy
Is it really
Butler
that far
wouldn't
out of
let
the
that happen.
question?
Sorry,
Is it really that far out of the question that if Nick Nurse brings in a new culture and a new scheme,
bro. I think we've had this conversation with head coaches before. I think the NBA is one of the few sports where the head coach involvement is probably one
not
of
when you're talking about Doc Rivers,
is one of the lowest.
not when
Like
you're
a
talking
That's
head
about
kinda
Doc
coach,
true.
Rivers.
a head coach is
Doc
not
Rivers is the cancer on whatever team he's
like
coaching.
in football like a Kyle Shanahan where you got this guy who's cooking up the game. This
But
is
that's the
not the
thing.
case for basketball. It is not. It is not.
There-
It's
I
simply
mean, Nick
is-
Nurse would be the
There's
best coach
already
that
quotes
he's
coming
had.
out of Sixers camp where players are saying, "Yeah,
bro.
it's refreshing to have a coach who's actually
brother.
who's actually
Of
doing
course they'll
something
say
for
that.
once."
Well, of course they're gonna say that. It's like
Most
doesn't mean
players don't
anything.
talk like that. Most players
Oh,
don't
no.
say things like
I don't
that.
buy
Of the
it. I
nature
don't
that
buy
they're
it.
saying.
I think if
when
I'm a
they get a new
franchise
coach.
and my players, if I'm a team and I'm a player part of this franchise, and I know it's under huge heat that this franchise is done, they can't. Of course, I'm gonna come be like, no,
such a-
man, it's so
such a
great to.
strange-
It's so great to be in this new environment. We're gonna win. We're gonna.
That's such a strange. That's not what they're saying. They're saying it's nice to have a coach who's actually coaching. That's a very specific thing that multiple players have said in reference
don't
to the
know.
fact that Doc Rivers
Personally, I don't
does
I don't
not
buy
call
it.
plays,
I don't buy the
does not
trust the
scheme anything
process.
up.
It's gonna be another year of mediocrity, of another year of failure, and Embiid needs to run away as fast as you can. Don't ever look back. The Sixers,
I don't even necessarily
he
disagree
failed
with
the
that,
Sixers,
but
and
I
the
still think
Sixers.
you're guaranteeing it is being ridiculous.
It's a
Saying it's
guarantee.
100 guarantee. Oh, that's
This is the
ridiculous.
most confident I could be. Sorry, 100%. And I think this is our list so far. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we analyze each team really great. I think we talked about every single one pretty in depth. So hopefully to our loyal fans, we apologize about our last episode. But this is a team. I think contenders, we got the Bucks, we got the Celtics. The playoff teams, we got from like deepest to least deep. The Knicks, the Heat, 76ers, and the Cavs. Playing the Nets, the Hawks, Pacers, Pistons, Magic. Lottery team, Wizards, and D, Raptors, Bulls, Hornets. And I think, like I said, my preseason favorites, now that we've done both, I definitely see the Bucks winning it all. Of course, I want the Warriors to win it. And if I were to do like a ranking, it'd be like the Bucks, then the Nuggets, then personally I would have the Warriors. That's like my top three. I don't know. What about you guys? I think it's
I thought we were doing contenders or our picks next
wasn't
week.
Wasn't that next week?
I have no idea, to be honest. I'm gonna
I'll
be
say I'll
very
send you the
honest.
memo.
Okay, send me the memo. Sorry,
I
I'm not...
apologize to our fans. We're getting ahead of
Apologies.
ourselves.
Apologies.
Somebody's a bit out of the loop.
A bit
so
out
to
of the loop.
speak.
But okay, I think we should end this on. I'm asking you 3 trivia questions between Wes and Thomas. Just for a fun ending. Who?
Still out of the loop, guys. This is
I'm out of the loop, but it's fine. I wanted to do it. I don't care. I wanted to. Okay. We'll start easy to hard. Who is the tallest? Oh, wait. Okay, wait. How do we do this where like who gets to answer first? I guess whoever raises their hand.
Whoever says it first.
No,
I'm just
raises
gonna blurt
their
it out
hand.
if I know it.
No, raises their hand. Do the raise hand emoji.
Oh, you can't make me do anything, actually.
So raise your hand first, and then I'll just choose between the two. All right. Okay, turn it off, Wes. Don't do it right away. But fine, yeah, you could just do a physical raise hand. Sure.
I've already raised my hand, so that gives me permission to speak whenever you ask.
Guys, I have class in the morning, please.
Okay, I mean you're the one who wanted to do the trivia.
All right. Where did the question go, bro? You guys are okay. Who is the tallest everyday point guard of all time?
Magic.
Wes,
Ben Simmons is 6'10".
Actually, this is a very interesting point. It is Magic Johnson according to this website, but I would actually kind of agree. But I guess it's everyday.
Wait, actually, is he 6'10"?
Isn't he only? Isn't Ben Simmons also 6'9"? Isn't that people said he was the next Magic? Damn. Okay. Learn something every day.
But I think everyday point guard. So like every single day point guard. I just repeated it in 2 different ways. So I guess 1 goes to Thomas, 0 goes to Wes.
Well, Magic played center. Magic played center when Kareem went out.
That's
so.
the one game.
That's not every day, though.
Count.
Come on,
not every
up.
day. A little asterisk.
All right. What? Let's see. Name one of the 2 teams in the West to have never made the Western Conference Finals since 2000.
Shit. The first team that came to my mind was wrong. Got to be the. Oh no, that's also wrong.
Put your hand down, bro, and then raise it.
T-Wolves.
Okay, Wes.
I already said the T-Wolves.
Pelicans.
Yes. Nice. That's
so.
What a deep grab, dude. Screw Thomas. Thank God this
idiot. AG must have dragged him to one. Yeah.
Idiot Thomas.
No, he didn't. He didn't drag them to one.
Idiot Thomas. All right. The last question for the tiebreaker. What player holds the record for most consecutive double-doubles in one season since the NBA/ABA merger? I'll just say it's a player we all know. Even I do. So.
Right. Yeah, it's got to be an all-time great.
Maybe not.
Wes.
Tim Duncan. I don't.
No.
Thomas.
John Stockton.
You guys get 3 guesses each.
LeBron.
You got to raise your hand.
If it's LeBron, oh my
Wes.
God, I can't believe you included it.
LeBron.
Thank God. Oh, Jesus.
Do you guys want
Dwight Howard?
Oh, you got to raise your hand, idiot.
Dwight Howard?
Thomas, what's your guess?
Oh, you're calling on me now?
Yeah, Thomas, what's your guess?
I pass.
Okay. So Thomas gets 0 for 2. He could have been right. Dwight Howard could have been the answer, but I'm not gonna give it to him. 0 for 2. Wes with the final last guess. I'll give you guys a hint. LeBron was kind of close, in a way.
Oh, so this player must be very bad.
All right, you guys got one more guess. Come on, guys.
Is it
Wes, it's your-
Nemanja Bjelica?
You got to raise your hand.
What?
Nemanja Bjelica? Wow.
Thomas is the final guess. It's Jordan Game 6.
I mean, there's just no way I get it, right? You said since NBA manager. Moses Malone. Tough.
You guys have
What,
any
are you
final?
doing like a
I'm doing an X. It's an X.
Brother, I seriously doubt we're gonna get this.
The answer,
overtime?
Kevin Love with 53.
That's unbelievable.
It's pretty damn impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
I do want to do a tiebreaker though. You guys both are. Oh, okay, this one you guys should get. Maybe. Who won the most NBA Finals MVPs? No. Who is the first player to be drafted #1 without playing college or high school basketball in the U.S.?
Oh, college or high school. Wow, that's good.
This one you guys should get. I feel like Wes could get this. He has that deep bag.
Oh, wait, no. I was going to say someone, but he played for University of Houston. You said, wait, repeat the question.
Who is the first player to be drafted #1 without playing college or high school basketball in the United States of America? All right, I'm gonna.
It's so tough.
I'm
Wait,
gonna.
Yeah.
Is it
Wes?
is it just Wembanyama?
No.
'Cause
#1 is wrong.
he didn't
Thomas?
play college or high
I don't
school,
even have a
so-
guess. Did I don't Matumbo wasn't a first pick, right?
Is that your guess?
Was it Matumbo?
Eh.
Hmm.
You guys know this. You guys will be disappointed when you guys realize you didn't get it.
Okay, let's go back in like #1 picks, I guess. So
Damn,
Wemby,
they're working together.
I'm not. West acted like we were, but I'm not.
What the hell was that?
what is that?
What is that? What? What was that?
I don't know. I didn't do that. All right, who was the #1? Was it Cade? Who was last year?
Wow.
Alright.
Thanks to our loyal fan base. You guys want a hint?
Yes, please. There's
Thanks
no
to the
way we're gonna-
$5 donation.
Okay. In the early 2000s.
Interesting.
Oh,
Wes.
Yao Ming.
Yes,
Yeah, obviously. Yeah,
sir.
that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't believe
was
I missed
good.
that.
Dude, Thomas is embarrassing, bro. Thomas thinks he knows trivia. What a bum. And I think that's a good note to end it off of.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should have known that one, but
Yeah.
neither of us got it until the hint, so it's kind of Mickey Mouse. But hey,
Well,
Hey.
well, actually, Ben Simmons taller than Magic, so
that's not
Actually,
never
in a
point.
way,
That's-
actually,
that's a ridiculous.
actually, no.
answer.
Yeah, actually, Wes, I disagree.
We
with
all
that.
know Ben Simmons is the forward, brother.
what was his? He played point guard, right? In Philly.
For
But
one
not
season,
everyday
I thought it was
point guard.
every day. It's for one season, dog. Nah, don't
All right,
don't
I
give me
think
that
we're gonna end
impression,
there.
Wes.
Thanks so much. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below.
Yeah, do all that stuff.
And
Subscribe to our Patreon.
subscribe to our Patreon. Thanks so much for the comments and the constructive criticism. We really appreciate you guys, man. And we hit a huge milestone yesterday. 4 views.
Dude, we got 23 on one of our episodes. That shit was
Okay, dude, I
surprising.
guarantee it's like 8 of us or 20 of us.
But no,
It's
we're
20
not,
of us. It's
we're not,
definitely 20 of us.
we're not artificially inflating our views. That's not something we do.
Okay.
Let's
You want to get sued?
yeah, let's not get sued. YouTube will crack down.
All right. Anyways, guys. What did Wes say that one day? Do it again, Wes.
It's like, I think I introduced the show by doing that.
No. You said and bada boom, bada bing, or something like that.